And we're back with part 2 of episode 1's review of DuckTales 2017. Let's get started with this. And may I just say, utter brilliance! Utter brilliance! I love the remake of the DuckTales intro, and they made us wait 20 minutes to hear it. And all is forgiven, for the intro itself is wonderful and magnificent, and we shall all listen to it, and there shall be much rejoicing. Continue. So we more or less begin the episode with Glomgold Industries employee training video, which I cannot put into words. I like Glomgold. I like this guy. He is funny. He is unapologetically the bad guy. Like, okay, if anybody has ever seen the cartoon of Buzz Lightyear, Zurg was a bad guy. He knew he was a bad guy, and he reveled in his bad guyness. Glomgold's the same way. Anyway, it appears he has brought together a group of what I can only guess are mercenaries on the search for the Jewel of Atlantis in order to make him the richest duck in the world. Cue evil laughter. Oh, and Donald's there too, and he's on the phone with Scrooge, telling Scrooge to not let the boys stay up late, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine, and don't worry, we've got the low-key day." And meanwhile, they're in a submarine heading for Atlantis. So this is beautiful. I cannot wait for the confrontation later. Also, we have Webby and Green Duckling basically going back and forth, and I'm curious to see just how far this is going to go, because Webby didn't tell Miss Beakley anything whenever she left. So Green Duck, so help me, one day I'll get their names, but right now is not that day. Gives her the phone, says, "Go call her and tell her you're staying at a friend's house," which is interesting, because Webby has no friends at all. She spent all of her time, as far as I can tell, inside the mansion. So she's going to tell Miss British Super Nanny a lie. I am waiting for her to Kool-Aid Man into a scene later on. So, moving right along now. And so begins the 16-hour adventure. And everybody is more or less bored to tears after a while, and Blue Duck is going a bit stir-crazy. He talks to Scrooge, says, "Hey, I bet I could find a shortcut," and Scrooge is like, "No," and then Blue Duck takes the map anyway and puts them like on a straight course instead of going the long way around, and the next thing we see is being attacked by a gigantic electric kraken, I am assuming, and merfolk and a gigantic mist titan, I think. It looked like a mist titan. So then we have Donald on the tanker being, being the wonderful uncle that he is. It is so touching. You can tell that he really loves the boys. You can really tell. He's showing the crew the baby pictures of his nephews, and then they get an alert, and they find out that they spotted Scrooge, and then Donald sees Scrooge, and then he sees the boys with him, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill him!" And Glomgold's like, "Ooh, I like that idea." So we can see how this is quickly going to get out of hand. Cut back to the submarine, where they are basically about to arrive, and then, yeah, they find Atlantis. Huh, not much fanfare as far as that goes. So Green Duck is talking to Webby, and apparently she hasn't called Mrs. Beakley yet, and there's 47 missed calls. And quick shout out to every child out there who got their phone and then looked and saw multiple missed calls from their mom or mother figure. That is a terrifying thing. It is genuinely terrifying. And so Green Duck forces the call. Webby just like freaks out, says everything is fine, don't be afraid, and like hangs up. And I cannot wait for this to turn around. I am hoping so much that Mrs. Beakley just Kool-Aid Mans through a wall somewhere. So a couple death traps and an assassination attempt later, we get to a suspension bridge with lasers, and Scrooge is like, hey, we'll find another way around. But Dewey, Blue Duck, decides that, no, he's just going to do it. He could totally make it through. And the idiot is straight up just walking through the stuff. He's not even trying to avoid the death trap, and he's being super cocky about it, and he's being dumb. Meanwhile, Donald's down below and keeping the flaming death from torching this little duckling alive. And he's being stupid. Like, Dewey's being uber stupid right now. I don't like Dewey. I'll probably like him later at some point, but right now, don't like Dewey. Anyway, Scrooge Assassin's Creed's his way across the chasm, super easy. Dewey's all, oh man, you're not even giving me a chance, blah blah blah. And Scrooge is like, look, you don't know what you're doing. You're just waltzing right into it. It's dangerous. And in the process, the bridge gets broken, and Scrooge tells the other to find another way across. So Glomgold makes it to the treasure room, gets the Jewel of Atlantis. Dewey sees that they have Donald. He jumps in and is like, let go of my uncle. And Glomgold's just like, no. We never see that. And I'm very glad that they did that. It's funny. Anyway, Scrooge shows up, trips up Glomgold. A back and forth is had, and all of a sudden Glomgold backstabs Donald, and he is now taken prisoner. Glomgold escapes, and they set up the trap. Water starts filling up the treasure room. Then we cut to the B team, and they're making their way down, and Mrs. Beakley calls again. And Whammy says, oh, it's Uncle something or other, and he only speaks Swedish. And Green Duck is just like, that's it, you're done, you're never going to be able to do it. And then all of a sudden, Launchpad falls, picks up the phone, and starts speaking in Swedish. Oh my God. The writing in this show is amazing. There's some squabbles, some back and forth, some history is brought up, something about a spear, and then Dewey starts breaking down the death trap and discovers that, hey, the big crystal that's glowing in the room is probably the real crystal of Atlantis. And there's a, hey, you've got to trust me moment, and Donald unplugs the wall that he's been holding, and yeah, it's very, this is so fascinating, seeing Donald and Scrooge actually have chemistry on the screen at the same time. The three of them manage to get the jewel out, the water trap reverses, and then we cut back to the B team, and they beat up the henchmen. And then all of a sudden, Glomgold comes in on the radio saying that he is going to blow up Atlantis and basically bury everybody alive. Well, blowing up Atlantis pretty much would equal them dying anyway, so I'm just being redundant at this point. The henchmen bum a ride with the Ducktail crew. They all make it out. We cut to back in Duckburg, where Glomgold is at a press conference right on the dock, and they're like, hey, and he's like, hey, I'm the new guy. And then up comes Scrooge, and he just straight up upstages him, and it's hilarious. And apparently also the red gem is cursed because Glomgold gets attacked by a big tentacle and drug off into the water. And then we have Mrs. Beakley showing up. Sadly, no Kool-Aid Man moment. But we do see that she is absolutely fine with her being with Scrooge because, well, she's honestly more safe with Scrooge because apparently Mrs. Beakley has that much faith in Scrooge. What else? We have Donald and Scrooge mending fences, saying it's okay for the boys to hang out with Scrooge. And then all of a sudden, apparently, the houseboat blows up because Dewey left the engine running. And then Scrooge just invites him in, and everyone's now living at the mansion. And we have the boat being dropped in the pool in the mansion. And yeah, it's coming together really, really nicely. Also, enormously huge bomb at the end of this episode. Well, technically it's episode 2, but it's still all under episode 1. But yeah, huge bomb. I'm not even going to spoil it. Like, straight up huge. Having Donald in the series at all is big, But the bomb they drop at this one is amazing. So I cannot wait to be able to watch more of DuckTales. This is fantastic. Every cartoon studio out there, every studio who produce stuff, this is how you make a return of a series. This is how you reboot a franchise. Samurai Jack was ending the pre-existing story. This is starting over. This is rebuilding the universe, and it is done so perfectly. I absolutely love it, and you can definitely look forward to me doing more of these reviews in the future. But until then, this is Drill88 signing out.